Yo, what's going on, guys? Mush back at it with another video. Want to give you guys a heads up on a brand new feature that Steam has added. More so on the developer side of things, but it's going to be very relevant to the average Steam customer as well as it pertains to early access titles. We'll talk about that. And you guys, I've been playing a ton of Nioh 3. That game is awesome, and I'm really enjoying it, and I will say that Nioh 3 had a day one release on both PlayStation 5 and PC, and we can look at some data that makes it really interesting on how beneficial it is to release a game day one on PC when it comes to Steam concurrent player count numbers, since Nioh 2 and Nioh 1 both did in fact have delayed releases on PC. So we'll talk that at the end of this video, just some interesting numbers to go over. But first of all, new early access developers can now list their planned 1.0 release date. Now, I think this is incredibly beneficial in terms of just being transparent with the user and making that 1.0 release as visible as possible. And they are going to be able to be a little bit selective on how they show it, but let's go over the post. We recently introduced a new field in Steamworks for early access games, providing a dedicated space to display the date when a game plans to exit early access and officially launch 1.0. Now, if you don't know, currently, you can find the planned early access release window, but it's in the more information section with like all the early access details, which, let's be honest, when you have information in a wall of text like that, the reality is a lot of people just don't read it. I'm sorry to say, that's just what it comes down to. Because it's buried in that wall of text, a lot of people don't read it, and then they end up just buying a game, and then a game's in, early access for eons and eons. And I'll get to that point because I do think there needs to be some consumer responsibility as well when they're buying a game that is early access, but again, we'll get to that in a little bit. Products that are currently in early access have a dedicated early access tab in their edit store page tools. At the bottom of the page, developers will now find a date picker to select a planned 1.0 release date. Just as with coming soon pages on Steam, developers have the option to share a specific calendar date or a more vague time frame if they wish. I think a lot of people would appreciate more transparency, and it's just a good thing for the consumer. Even if Steam could have gotten away, and they absolutely could have without ever implementing this, look, what benefit does this actually offer to Steam and the developers themselves? No, it offers the consumer more transparency, even if it's a little thing. And now that this is publicly visible, any developer that drops an early access game and wants to be coy about it, that'll immediately alarm you a little bit, as people are aware that the early access release date's available. That takes time for it to be normalized, but still, after the developer saves and publishes their change, customers will see the planned 1.0 release publicly in the store like this. Now, this is in that early access game section that I talked about a little while ago. However, it's prominently featured at the top of the list. So let's pull up another early access game, for example, so I have it. Let's pull up No Rest for the Wicked. Not to say anything bad about No Rest for the Wicked, it's been making a lot of progress, but if you want to find like a release date now, you have that early access box that's prominently featured, but then you have to click the Read More tab, then you have to scroll down, and they have the paragraph underneath why early access. Listen, like, I know this doesn't sound like a big deal, and in the grand scheme of things, it's not a gigantic deal, but so many people just won't click that read more button, and they're just gonna buy a game and be like, why is this game still in early access? Well, buddy, they told you how long they were gonna be in early access for, so them having the date more publicly visible that everybody can see, I think that's actually very beneficial. Why did we add this new option? Occasionally, developers with the game in early access would ask us proactively if there was any official place to display a planned 1.0 date. They wanted existing and potential players to know about their plans. Many studios were already sharing their 1.0 dates in other places within the text description on the store page, via Steam event posts on social media, in their forums, and so on. Last year, we introduced this Steam personal calendar and realized one valuable kind of release we are missing from the UI: upcoming transitions from early access to 1.0. With an official 1.0 date display, we could give those transitions an official display in the personal calendar and address the developer request around formally showcasing the planned 1.0 date. They also go over what developers should do next, but I'm here more so to talk about this from the consumer lens. So the early access debate's a big thing. I mean, we just had Ashes of Creation come out in early access, and let me know how that went. The game has now been delisted, but Early access gaming is interesting. I think early access gaming is great because it lets developers take information from their players and then also develop a game and offers people to buy a game at a potential discount. There's a lot of benefits to early access. However, I also think that this isn't just oh, developers are taking advantage of consumers. Look, if you're buying an early access game, you have to know that this game is in mid-development, and development can always go awry. Development can always go crazy, even if they're planning. And guess what? These games coming out, they're gonna have a planned release. They can put a window as well. So if a game, let's say, goes into early access tomorrow, they can put, okay, we plan on being in early access for 12 months, and they're gonna list our 1.0 release window as 2027. Guess what? Development goes awry all the time. I've been through the song and dance with early access games and games that list X date that they're planning to come out, or X window 6 months from now, 12 months from now, and it takes orders of magnitude longer for the game to come out. I do like the level of transparency that the publicly listed date, that's super easy and it's gonna be there, but still, take that with a grain of salt. And at some point when it comes to early access games, the responsibility does come down to the player to be like, alright, I'm buying an early access game, there's an inherent risk. That's what you should acknowledge whenever you buy an early access game. There's an inherent risk, and more often than not, these games are gonna come out. You're not gonna get ashes of creation, but it might take longer to get to 1.0. But guess what? It taking longer to 1.0 to get to 1.0 a lot of the times is them implementing the changes that the players want them to make so they can make 1.0 as good as possible. That's why early access off rip, having oh, we plan to be in early access for this long, like, that's great, but the plan is kind of irrelevant when the game's not even in early access and you haven't taken feedback in. I feel like you could actually set the table for when you expect a game to be come out, 3, 4, 6 months after early access. You roll out more content and things evolve so greatly over the course of early access. But still, a nice change that Steam has made, so definitely do like that dropping. Moving on from that, I do want to talk a little bit about Nioh 3, which I think is a great game, and you guys know I'm not the biggest into Souls-like titles, but man, I am loving Nioh 3. Nioh 3 and Nioh in general, as far as gameplay is concerned, kind of more up my alley in that it's, especially this one with the ninja style, fast-paced and super fluid. That's what I felt about Nioh 3 that's made me really enjoy the gameplay. It's a super fluid game. I could do without some of the super tanky bosses, but the game is a lot of fun. I love the enemy designs. I love the world design. It's not like visually an absolute juggernaut. However, the art direction of the game is so good. And, they've got elements to make the game easier. I know people will call you a schmuck if you use summonings, but the summonings are all out there, and if you use them, I certainly ain't gonna be the one to call you a schmuck, but I'm really enjoying it. And the game did come out day one on PC alongside its PlayStation 5 release. Tecmo Koei, I think, is starting to realize we might got something with our PC players. We might have a track record for some of the worst PC ports of all time, but it seems like there are people out there that do like our games. And to be fair, Nioh 3 has a free playable demo, so you can try out the performance for yourself, and by the general consensus, it is a really good PC version, so I am enjoying it quite a lot. And with its day one release, let's compare concurrent player count. So let's pull up Nioh 2, which came out about a year after the release of the original Nioh 2 on PlayStation 5, that is. So the PlayStation 5 version came out in March of 2020, and then the PC version came out in February of 2021, so about 11 months. Nioh 2 peaked at 41,000 concurrent players, and I would say by early 2021, I feel like 2020 was a big boom for PC gaming because, the world shut down. So we're comparing a game that came out in 2021 to 2026, which I think is a lot more relevant than, let's say, 2015 and 2021, for example, or 2016 and 2021. So Nioh 2, again, peaked at 41,000. What has Nioh 3 peaked at? 88,000 concurrent players. Mind you, Nioh 3 is a $70 game versus Nioh 2, initially it was $60, I believe when it came out on PC it was $50, but you're talking a $70 game over 2x, well over 2x the concurrent player count number. And yeah, that should go to show that whenever you see these games and they came out on a delay and they don't do the greatest concurrent PC player count numbers, well, they're coming out on a delay that really does hamper how many people are going to check them out. And I think Neo is one of these franchises that has gained a lot of steam, especially with the quality level of Neo 1 and 2. I was very much expecting Neo 3 to absolutely slaughter Code Vein 2 in terms of concurrent player count number, but yeah, Neo 3 has 8x'd it, so that's not great for Code Vein 2. Code Vein 2 peaked at 11,000, Neo 3 peaked at 88,000. Like, I was expecting that, but that is a little bit of a bigger differential than I expected. I was expecting like 4x, 5x, maybe 8x is kind of wild, but you know, maybe, I know Bandai Namco could never really plan for it, but man, I just knew that was trouble when two major Souls-like games were coming out a week apart, and Neo 3 was just, I knew it was going to be a way bigger game. But I'm really digging Neo 3, and goes to show. Hopefully, the rumors of Final Fantasy VII Part 3 on day one on PC are going to be true, and I think that game's going to do very well as well. But that'll do it for me. Again, a nice change over on Steam with the early access display. Love to see that, and on top of that, Neo 3 may be a showcase for more games to come out day one on PC. That'll do it for me. Let me know all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. As always, thanks for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace out. Hey, what's going on, guys? Mush here again. Hope you enjoyed the video. As you guys might know, YouTube's notification system is sometimes a little bit wonky, even if you're subscribed to the channel. Maybe you're not abundantly aware that I uploaded a video. To remedy that situation, make sure you hit the bell notification button. This way, whenever I upload a new video, and I try to upload as consistently as possible, you will be notified directly of the upload, and you can watch it as soon as it goes live. I would really appreciate it if you guys hit that button so you can stay up to date with all of the content I'm posting. But as always, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.